Hello everyone and welcome to another beta update for Project Skyring. Gonna jump straight into it. The task list over at Trello. If you search for Trello in Project Skyring, you can come here, it's public. But we just finished beta episode number 11. So since last week, what I managed to do was I finally did narrow down, make sure there's plenty of backup in place to make sure that the proper islands that you need to progress through the game are always generated no matter what kind of stuff you do. That's working fine. Some of these other things that I was waiting to test, working fine. Also using screenshots from the game. I just made screenshots in advance rather than taking them as you play the game. Play those in the title menu and stuff like that, so those show up in the backgrounds. They look pretty good. Also, during the live show, they ended up zoomed in by mistake, but it actually turned out to be a good mistake. Viewers like Risa401 and 123 Gas 321 mentioned that actually the zoomed in versions look nice because they're different from what you usually see in the game. Gives you a nice chance to see the character up close and everything else, so gonna keep that. Mouse pointer, that's working fine. Some of the art stuff and title screen, the screenshots are all in place, so that's fine. Making the beam coming out of the center of the monolith, that was just a minor tweak to make sure it didn't come out of like the top. And install like launcher icon, those are all kind of in place. So we're getting close, With the actual beta episode, we did find a few issues. One thing, for example, that we found was the closing, like when you get through to the end of that last screenshot, probably because of shaders and things like that, looks a little weird, so we have to fix that. Ground enemies don't seem to be stopping for the boomerang when you're throwing it anymore. Have to make sure that's fixed. Seems like their speeds are off too. It might be related to resolution. Hard to tell. We have to check. Also in the desert, there's one particular tile. It's the dry riverbed bridge tile that flickers and you can't walk on it. So something really weird is going on with that. I just have to check that. The desert mountain, this is more of a look thing, but when you destroy the desert mountains with your boomerang, leaves behind kind of a rubble pile. Let's show some screenshots here. Yeah. Like, for example, when you destroy a mountain, it just leaves behind just generic rubble, and it doesn't really blend in with the rest of the desert level, so it's probably better to do something where we do something like this, where the actual rubble tiles kind of blended into the desert. We can do that. By the way, this is the unzoomed version of the title screen kind of screenshot stuff. The zoomed in version does look better, and I can show you that once we're kind of done going through these tasks. Also, the enemies get aggressive from too far away. They do seem to be kind of persistent. It is important to have enemies chasing you, though, because that's the way you find islands and stuff, using the particles that come off of them when they're destroyed. So maybe it's okay. I'll just play it a little more in check. And resolution, changing the default to 920 by 1080 might solve a few things, make things look better. I'll have to think about that one. But in terms of tasks we have left, 123 Gas 321 is helping me with the player sprites. The ground ones are mostly done. It's just mostly the air stuff, and that shouldn't be too tough. But 123 Gas is very busy, so just kind of set that aside for now. And the logo and sound effects brush up stuff, have to do that. But let's just pop into the game and show you where we're at right now. I did do a full playthrough during the live show, so gonna have to start with a new game. So going through the tutorial and stuff like that. Also getting over pneumonia of all things. So right after last week's show and after doing the update, pretty much just fell to pieces, fever, everything else. Now I'm finally fine. Ish, though my throat is still kind of showing it. There's the zoomed in screenshot, the zoomed in version. It looks a lot better, I think, than the zoomed out version, as Risa and 123 Gas mentioned. I like it. Also, one thing I did fix in the meantime was that during just the tutorial, because I have rotation locked to make sure that you can't do anything too crazy during the tutorial, it was causing something where, like, if you were going up and down in altitude, it was kind of making the character go off-center. I fixed that, so the tutorial is much smoother. The only thing left to do on the tutorial is if the player doesn't figure out what to do based on those icons in the lower right corner, that one, like right there. If they don't figure out what to do based on those icons, to add text that fades in and out and stuff like that. So now going up and down in altitude, the player is nice and centered. That's working out fine. One more issue that we did find was that the rain particles don't show up sometimes, so you do have to add that to the list, remembering it now. But since I always start with this level, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump ahead a few levels and kind of show you where we're at with that. So let's go ahead and go jungle, desert. I'll show you the desert level since that's kind of what was popping up in our chat here. The reason everything looks really weird is I've got the debug overlay on right now, but obviously that's not going to be in the final game. You don't have these blue dots and red dots and all this crazy stuff going on. That's just for me. The whole point of the game is to circle enemies to destroy them before they destroy you. I'm going to turn the debug overlay off. I'm going to have an island close by. Yeah, I'll go ahead and land. And I'll show you what I mean by the mountain rubble stuff. Like right now, it looks like the mountains are kind of blended into the desert. But if I destroy them with my boomerang, it leaves behind something that's not blended in. It's kind of weird. That's what your gas mentioned. So we do need to like have kind of special rubble tiles for the desert, I think. But that's kind of where we're at. Things are looking good. Menus are fine. Logos are ready. We're almost done. And like I said during the live chat, we'll probably be able to release the game by the end of the year, and then think about what to do after that. So that's where we're at the moment. Let me jump off to the desktop and give you the times in case you do want to check the live show out, because that's definitely where the fun's to be had. Especially if you want to see me deal with trolls and stuff like that. We had a lot of trolls this last time around, but they got dealt with. Thank you for watching this update. You can catch past episodes at YouTube, but it is just beta updates. But we do the live show on Twitch TV Blue Tengu, Sundays 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Japan time, which translates to Saturdays 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific, 4 to 6 Mountain, 5 to 7 Central, 6 to 8 Eastern. If you're in the UK, it starts Saturday night, 11 p.m. and goes until 1 a.m. If you're in Japan or Australia or New Zealand or any place kind of in Oceania, it's basically Sunday morning. But we do announce what we're doing through Twitter, so follow btengu, BTENGU, to keep track of when the live show starts or episodes go up. Or follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and get announcements that way. Thank you for watching. I'll have another update next week.